Is up, everybody? Krator is back, and we are playing. We're back on RT on Halo 2, and we're now at Act 5 of Nightmare with our Vengeance Paladin. So, as always, we'll start with a recap of our stats, gear, build, all that stuff, mercenary, and then after the recap, we will get into Act 5 proper. We did do Eldritch and Shank in the previous episode, I believe. I usually like to do because we wanted to get that first waypoint, and also we may farm Eldritch a little bit here for some levels. It's definitely on a possibility. So first, let's start with the skills this time. Normally we start with the gear, but let's start with the skills this time. So Vengeance is our primary skill, and as you can see, it adds a good amount of attack rating, and then percentage, almost 300% fire and lightning damage, and then 184% cold damage with our current synergies. So that is a boatload of damage if you have high physical damage to begin with, so Vengeance is unlike most elemental builds. Most elemental builds, you just want to build plus the skills, and then in the end game you'll find items that are like minus enemy resist or plus your skill damage or whatever. But Vengeance is very different. Vengeance is all scaled off of the physical damage of your weapon. So you have a high physical damage weapon, then those percentages of fire, lightning, and cold, those numbers are going to be way bigger. So that's why we're rocking a two-hander. We actually were lucky and we found a Bonesnap, but we'll get into that in a little bit. You could definitely do this one-handed and have a sword and board kind of a strategy. It's much safer, but you're going to do way less damage because, again, since it's percentage based off of but it's based off of your physical damage. So that's why with the two-hander we're doing a grip. Also, if you went the sword and board route, you'd want to have Holy Shield, and you could eventually go for max block. And you'd probably use like a Spirit Shield, so you'd have some extra points. But anyway. Offensive auras, we are putting our points into Conviction. This is the best in slot for us because several reasons. One, the minus enemy defense is important because Vengeance is an attack rating skill. We are hitting, so we want to hit our enemies as best as we can. And so between having minus 82% defense and then having the plus attack rating that the skill itself gives us, it gives us a much better chance of hitting. Again, the other part of the attack calculation is level, so you don't want to be under leveled, or you'll just miss anyway. But that's just par for the course for attacking characters. Also, the minus enemy resist all is very important because we're doing all the elements of damage pretty much. So that just basically is a huge boost to our damage. And then for the synergies, this row right here is all synergies for Vengeance. These each add plus 10% of whatever element, and this adds 2% of all three. You'll notice we have no points in to resist cold. That is because cold immunes in Hell are basically unbreakable without a Sunder Charm. So whereas fire and lightning, we can break some of those immunities with just Conviction. So since we can break those immunities, we might as well use those damage types, and then those damage types will kill the cold immunes anyway. So if we had infinite points, we would max out cold resist as well, but we don't. So we're focusing on the fire and lightning damage. But we still do have some cold damage, so if we run into a monster that's fire and lightning immune, we still are going to do some damage to them. But this is just the best way of tackling it, in my opinion. So eventually we'll have... This maxes out at negative 150%. Any points beyond that don't do anything. So with plus to skills, if this ever gets up to 150, then all the rest of our points are going to go here and here. If we max these out, then we'll start putting our points here. And that's kind of the plan. Additional skills that are useful is we have 1 point in a charge, just for getting around. So that's the skills. We'll look at our equipment. So we dropped a Bonesnap from Baal in normal, and we have upped it to a War Club. And and we also punched a hole in it, put a Shale Rune in it. This is one of the reasons. One of the reasons why we're choosing to stick with two-handed. Is this thing just does a ton of damage. And then it does have 40% chance of crushing blows, so that does help with bosses, and it gives us some resistances as well, which is helpful because usually when you have a two-hander, you miss out on those resistances because you don't have a shield. Our helmet, we have a hearth because we have no other version of Cannot Be Frozen currently, and you need to have Cannot Be Frozen on a melee character if you really want to survive, especially in hell. If we found, like a Ravenfrost or something, we could definitely switch this to something else, but we don't have that. So currently we're using Hearth. We also don't have, since we're not using a shield, we don't have access to Rhyme, so that's kind of the choice there. We found this damage reduced by 21 amulet. We previously had an amulet with just some random resistances on it. This has been pretty good because it affects, like, usually when you get chunked in this game, it's not that, sometimes it's one big hit, but a lot of times, unless you're cursed, it's a whole bunch of small hits or medium-sized hits. Having damage reduced by 21 is actually like a pretty good chunk that you can take off of that. If you actually stack a decent amount of this damage reduced gear, and it's like some percent damage reduced gear, you can make an extremely tanky character. So we're trying this out. In hell, we will probably need to switch to some kind of a resistance amulet because we don't have a shield, but for now, we're using this because it's working pretty well so far. Stealth, we just haven't found it. We don't have anything better. This will probably, we're probably looking at upgrading this in hell to either, we have a few different options kind of depending on what runes we find. Smoke for the resistances could be an option. Another option could be Treachery or Duress. We did find an rune from the Hellforge, so Duress is probably the direction we will go. The thing that used to be called Hustle, Mania, or whatever it's called now, Hysteria maybe if it's an armor, I can't remember. That thing would also be not bad. Lionheart would also be good in this instance, and then of course at the end game you're going to want like something like a Fortitude or something crazy, or Enigma. But for now, this gives faster run walk and faster hit recovery, and the faster cast rate kind of helps when we're teleporting. We also amazingly dropped Gore Riders off of Mephisto, I think it was. This is awesome. It's Crushing Blow, Deadly Strike, Chance of Wounds. Like, these are just amazing. Like, this is one of the best melee, like, attacking boots in the game. So, that's pretty cool. Pretty happy with these. The only thing that would potentially be better than these would be, like, some... the Horizon boots that Cannot Be Frozen would be an option, so then we could switch out our helm if we wanted. And also, or, like, Tri-Res boots with faster unlock would be... also very good, but this is pretty sweet. Here we have a ring with attack rating, dexterity, and a little bit of resistances, and some magic damage reduced. It also does have level two sigil lethargy, which is helpful for Baal specifically. Sigil lethargy gives it a huge amount of slow, which, if combined with our cold damage from our Vengeance, will basically make Baal stand there and look at us because he'll be so slowed. He won't be able to finish his animations most likely. Or if he does, he'll be so slow that he won't be really scary anymore. And also, currently, Sigil Lethargy does increase physical damage taken, but that's going to go away after the PTR. Here we just have belts with the big fire res and some lightning resistance, and the rest of it doesn't really matter. Here we just have an attack rating ring. This could definitely be better. We did find Angelics, but for the amulet piece, but we don't have the ring. If we found the ring, then we would wear that combo because that would be, life and a bunch of attack rating. But we don't have that, so this could be upgraded to like some kind of resistances or something, but we just don't have that. Charms, we have like random life and resistance charms. We have this attack rating charm, but kind of the cool thing that we found was this baby. Plus 9 to maximum damage and plus 58 to attack rating is huge. Especially this does count with Vengeance. A lot of things that add damage don't really work with Vengeance, but plus to maximum damage does. So if we see we're currently maxed in damage is 2,940, we drop like 100 damage from this. So this charm is amazing. More maximum damage and attack rating charms would be really what you want in this build, is more of this and then resistances to show up your resistances, because as you can see, our lightning resist is poop. Everything else is okay, but we desperately need lightning resistance. Gloves, we have Venom Grip because we were rocking just like some Magic Find gloves and stuff. In fact, I think we have a separate glove in the stash. Yeah, we also have these attack speed gloves, but they have cold res, and our cold res is already like pretty good, so we don't really need it. Our cold res it would be maxed out if we wore those, so that's an option. We can take these off and put those on. This gives us a little bit more crushing blow, so we were using it against Diablo, but I think we might just, let's go back to this for now. But we're keeping both options. We definitely are going to use this against Baal because the extra crushing blow and stuff, and the life stolen. The poison damage also isn't terrible, and maximum, and the poison resist, you know, obviously it's generally not as important as the other resistances, but it's still nice to have. For stats, we have at least 124 strength because we want to use our War Club, Bonesnap. Since we upped it, it requires 124 strength. If we were to up this again, we would need 225 strength. But that would also be pretty expensive, and because we'd have to put some, I don't know exactly what the recipe is, but it's a little bit expensive in runes and gems and stuff. Dexterity we were originally planning on using just like whatever we found, so we didn't know if we were going to find a sword or an axe or something, so we put in a little bit of dexterity to use what we had found until we found Bonesnap. We were using we were using some kind of two-handed sword before that. And the rest in vitality, we don't really care about energy. We can get mana from charms and levels and whatnot. We are a little low on health because, you know, only 180 here because we have the points in up here, but you know, it is what it is. At this point, if we don't get a better weapon, we're just going to stack this. If we do end up finding like an elite base that we can switch out, we can respec because we haven't used our respec in Nightmare. So let's go and then I'll show the mercenary as well. We also do have this helmet that has more damage reduced and paladin skill levels, but again, we need cannot be frozen, so we can't really use this yet. We also have this one for life and for energy and resistance that we were using on our mercenary, but currently we took that off for other options. So here's our merc. Here in Nightmare, he has 75 resist all. He has this big 78 to life helmet. In Hell, we might switch this back to the resist helmet because we do want his resistances as high as possible. But for now, I mean, his resistances are basically maxed, so we might as well give him the life. He does have Dark Glow, so his res technically can max it all at 80. Excuse me. And it gives plus 10 to resistances. This thing is pretty good. I mean, it could definitely be better. Again, if we could get him, you know, stuff moving into Hell, we're looking at, you know, we would like to get him a Treachery or something like that. But for now, this is fine. And then an Insight and a Partisan, again, this is fine for Nightmare, but this is really going to fall off in Hell. The damage from an exceptional base, especially one that's not ethereal, falls off a cliff in Hell. It's really good for Nightmare and normal, but in Hell it will fall off. Luckily, he did roll 6 to critical strike, but his meditation order rolled pretty bad. So we are looking to upgrade this if we can find something like another 3 or 4 open socket polearm in Hell that's an elite base. We'll either make him a mania thing or another insight, likely. If we found a 5 open socket one, we could potentially use that, but we would need a foul rune to make like an obedience or something. So we're going to keep our eyes out for elite bases, especially for both him and ourselves as we go into Hell. Okay, and then in here I have our charms and our gems stacked in here, except for anything smaller than a flawless. I started putting in the shared, but we're not using shared stash, so this is where our stuff is. We did find a Ginther's Rift, so again we could switch to sword and board, and we also have a spirit in case we want to do that. So again, we have this shale Soul, so we do have Duress ready to go if we find a 3 open socket like Curus or something. But we haven't found a decent 3 open socket armor, and that's where we are. So let's go. Last time we were playing, we did farm a little bit of Eldritch, so let's go ahead. And we did want to run on players 8, I believe, but I think it took forever. Let's do players 5 and do a couple of runs and see how it looks. But as you can see, we're still like basically one-shotting things with Bonesnap. Gotta be a little careful, but because defensively we're not the strongest because we don't have a shield, but Bonesnap's damage is still doing well for us. Okay, the spear women are a little scary. There's a great axe. If now the end game version of a great axe is called a champion axe, and that's the one that we really want. As far as a base, if we're gonna make a new elite, like a good runeword and elite base, because champion axe does really good damage and have for its attack speed, and has low requirements considering how much damage and attack speed, how much damage it does and attack speed and stuff. So basically, it's just kind of like the best version of a big weapon we could use without a lot of investment, if that makes sense. All right, so that was pretty easy. So maybe we'll go back to Players 8 and try a Players 8 run. I think the reason, you know, it can be a little dangerous in here because like those guys that jumped us as soon as we walked to their waypoint, those can be kind of anything, and if they're quill rats or some of the other more dangerous mobs, then it can be a bit of a, they like gank you when you walk through the portal, which is a little annoying, but you can farm Eldritch for quite a bit of levels. I think you could realistically go up to probably like level 60 before it starts to like be kind of not good anymore. And there's also Pendle Skin later on in Act 5 that we can farm as well. And he is also pretty, he's always close by the waypoint, and he's not super hard. He is more dangerous than Eldritch because he has charge. So him and his buddies, if you're not careful, and you get a jump on them with like a teleport or something, or your own charge, they will chain charge you, and then you'll just die. But so if you're so you gotta be more careful with Pendle, but he's still a good option to use for farming if you need levels. Also, both Pendle and Eldritch have pretty decent drops. Pendle having better drops than Eldritch, obviously, because he's a higher level, but Pendle actually has actually kind of great drops, to be honest, but Pendle's not bad either. Or sorry, Eldritch isn't bad either. Particularly in Hell. Hell Pendle is very good for farming a lot of stuff. Not, you know, he's not the very best because he doesn't have TC 87s, so he's not gonna drop like Tyrael's Might or something, but he can drop some pretty good stuff, and he's pretty easy. Again, so for this portion, you want to farm as long as until you're comfortable. Basically, you can farm, like I said, you can farm this all the way up to like level 60 something. So basically, farm until you're comfortable, and then go ahead and move forward. Technically, you have to be at least level 60 to fight the ancients. I would recommend, or in Hell, but that's for like speedrunners and stuff. I would recommend being like probably at least level 60 or 70 when you go to Hell, especially if you're like new. If you're new and you have not played this game a ton, I would recommend, you know, like I said, leveling up to 60 or 70 before you go to Hell, because Hell it's tough. You know, these old games. Hell ramps up a lot because every single monster is pretty much immune to something. Not that we super care about immunities because we do every element of damage, except for, you know, we don't do poison and we technically don't do magic damage, but we do, you know, fire, lightning, cold. So because we do all the different kinds, we do physical damage, so we don't have to worry about immunities at all. But other classes do, other builds do, and so Hell is just something to be kind of careful of. We'll grab some items to sell. Ooh, battle boots. That's ethereal. Let's get rid of that. What is in here? Oh yeah, that bill we found. Okay. So we did level. We're gonna go ahead and do. Let's get this up to. Put some points in here and get us up to like 90 to 100, and then we'll start. Let's do 100, then we'll switch it up. Either way, we're basically increasing our damage. Because even once you get it up to like 100%, even if a monster has no resist, you're dropping it all the way down to negative 100, and then you're maxing out your damage, because you're basically doing like double damage. Alder's Advance. Okay, these are awesome. They rolled 45%, or they have 45% fire res. Yeah, so they rolled okay. 50 to life, indestructible, fast run walk. These are definitely an option in hell. And because we need the fire resist is actually like, I think worth it. Let's get rid of that. No, we don't need faster recovery either. So now with Alders, we have max fire and max cold. Now we really just need to worry about lighting. So that was a pretty good find. And then let's check out this bill. Nah, it's not even worth like sell value. Oh, he's got mana burn, that's a bit spooky. Mana burn sucks because it makes us chew through our potions, so it's a little less efficient. And also, when we don't have mana, we're not doing Vengeance, so we're not killing him very quickly. Mana burn's probably the most annoying thing he could have, honestly, for our build. Or Cursed. Cursed and Fanaticism is also pretty scary. Or Midor, technically. So there's a few that are pretty scary, but Mana burn is annoying. It's not super dangerous, though. Unless we're stubborn. If one of the things you'll learn about this game, if you're playing melee characters especially, knowing when to pick your battles and use your positioning. That's why you'll see, like, when I initiated, I kind of ran up, hit, and then ran back a little bit and made them engage us, because I wanted to pull them down so they'd be further away from any potential other monsters that want to jump in and try and be cute. We don't need a whole ton of Ort runes, so we'll go ahead and make a Thul rune. We don't need that many Thuls either, I don't think. And we'll go ahead, we will borrow it's just a chipped, so. So we have a second Am rune, we have a third Am rune. Okay. We do have that, okay, perfect. Actually we have 4 Am runes. Alright. Yeah, these are can be pretty dangerous, so be careful. Because not only do they poison you, they do just a high attack anyway. Well, our mercenary almost died. That's the one thing that sucks about Eldritch sometimes is you'll get stuff like that where he's not the super dangerous, but he spawns next to things that are, which means there's going to be quill rats potentially up there, or potentially close by again, so let's pull him again. And Hazaid's being an idiot, so alright, I guess we'll engage them up here. We do want to pull them because, again, that spiky guy is a bit dangerous. Shit. Oh, it was a terrible run. Jeez. Yeah, it was those idiots that. Why is he hitting so hard? Oh, extra strong. Yeah. Okay, that's. I was like, no wonder our mercenary died so fast. Extra strong will do that. That's not gonna roll 3. We'll do like 1 or 2 more. Let's at least get this level, and then if we get this level off of this one, then maybe we'll do more, because that means we'll still be getting good value. But if this one doesn't level us, then magic resistance is fine. Whenever they have defensive buffs, I really don't care. Like Stone Skin, we do not give a shit. We do so much elemental damage that's like we laugh at Stone Skin. There's a short siege bow here. Oh crap, my mercenary died when I wasn't paying attention. That's what I get. That's what I get. Well, he died really fast. I don't. That fire dude must have melted him, which is crazy because he has maximum fire resistance. So, you know. Yeah, so I think we'll do 1 more, get our level, and then move forward. Witch Wild String. This is a really cool bow. If you want to build a physical boson and play physical all the way through, and you find one of these beforehand, I would definitely keep one of these in the shared stash. Keep whatever highest one rolled you have, because it's incredible. Chance to cast amplify damage on striking is amazing. Fires magic arrows is not bad. The enhanced damage, the deadly strike based off character level gets, it's 1% per character level, so it gets pretty high. Keep in mind, deadly strike rolls separately from critical strike, the Amazon's like normal skill, so you can actually do like a double crit type of a thing, I'm pretty sure. Also, the 40 resist all 2 sockets. This thing is absolutely amazing, and if you up it, it's just really good. So we're gonna go ahead and throw this in the shared because we're not gonna use it. But it is a cool find. Yeah, physical boson is one of my favorite builds, so whenever I can find a cool bow, I always enjoy that. Okay, let's go ahead and repair our teleport staff. And then let's go back down to players 1. And let's just, let's go save the barbs and all that jazz. So we'll move forward. Yeah, when we go back to players 1, as you can see, we just murder stuff. Our damage is still very good. Got a rare bone helm we could take a look at. There's a cuirass. Yeah, he's fine. Not what we're interested in. We could grab this cuirass and then roll it in the cube or give it to Larzik. I think I'd rather roll it in the cube though, and see about getting potentially 3 open sockets. We can look up that recipe here in a bit, because having our Duress going would be awesome. It sounded like our mercenary leveled. I thought I heard his sound effect. Now these little gremlins are turds, and those are the type of monsters that having the sword and board version is better, because you can just attack super fast and get it over with. But these bigger guys, yeah, Bonesnap's just murdering. Superior Gladius that's another exceptional base. Again, not bad in Nightmare, but really falls off in Hell. But you're not going to have an elite base really until Hell, right? Unless you do some Terror Zone farming, which we might do, depending on what level we kill Baal and how tough Baal is. Because between our Gore Riders, our Crushing Blow, and our Venom Grips, our Bonesnap and our Venom Grips, we have like an insane amount of Crushing Blow. Because 40 from Bonesnap, 5 from Venom Grip puts us to 45, and then 15 more from Gore Riders puts us up to 60% Crushing Blow, and that's just nuts. Like, it's so much. And so we should be able to like melt bosses now. Ooh, a Shale Rune. That's always fun. Save the barbs. Okay. Save these ones. And we leveled, so as soon as we get to a safe place, I'll go ahead and do that. So we'll go Conviction here, and Vitality. His insight rolled so low that we are having to chug through potions quite a bit. If he had level 17 meditation, we wouldn't have to worry about it, but he did. He got 13, so. But he got all 6 levels of critical strike, which I usually value that pretty high, especially if you are able to get him a bulwark, because then he has, or like a vampire gaze or something, or a Tal's mask, because then he has that leech and with enough damage to actually like make it matter. That's also another item we could use. Pole arms are not as fast, but we could theoretically use a insight in a pole arm with armor with our main weapon instead of Bonesnap. But we found Bonesnap, so might as well use it, right? There we go. So now we've saved all of them, so we can move on to the next area. I always ask like folks like, you know, what's if you like different types of stuff like tabletop or whatever. Anyone else a big Star Wars fan? I'm a very big Star Wars fan. Star Wars was kind of like my first love, and The Hobbit. The Hobbit's my favorite book when I was a kid. I read it. I've read it a million times. I have it on audiobook narrated by Andy Serkis, and started listening to that a while ago. Light plated boots, I believe that's Vandala's. We don't really care about that. I'll take the Flawless Emerald and Jewel though, because you never know. those can be good. Well, the jewel could be good, but we know what the emerald does. Ow. And these javelin guys can be pretty dangerous, as we can see. They do a ton of damage. Luckily, we do have that amulet, though. That reducing damage amulet is really helpful right there, because we got hit. They're hitting us like a whole bunch of guys are hitting us at once, and minus 21 from each of those hits. That's a chunk. That's a huge chunk of damage. That's like 100 per volley that they chuck at us. So that's why damage reduced is really good. There's also percent damage reduced. You can get up to, I believe, 50% is the maximum physical damage reduced you can have before it stops doing anything. So if you have 50% physical damage reduced and an amulet like we have, you're really cooking with gas. Now, if we find the Lem rune and can make treachery, we will likely switch to where we're using the treachery and our mercenary is using the Duress. Because treachery is it's quite frankly bullshit. Like, it's really good because it gives you fade on or chance to cast fade on struck, and fade is incredible because it gives you not only a ton of resist, it also gives you physical damage reduction like we were just talking about. It also gives you reduced curse duration. And it's so good. It's one of the reasons why assassins are OP. They get two incredible like self buff skills. They get fade and burst of speed, and both of those are incredible. Which is why we would like the formerly known as hustle runeword, because that gives you fanaticism on a weapon or chance to cast, and I believe chance to cast burst of speed. At least it used to. I don't know if it does now. That runeword's been changed a bunch. Oh, here is the waypoint, so we'll go ahead and grab that. I often miss this one. Joke's on you, Fallen Shaman. I can't be frozen. I don't want AI viewers, thank you. Let's go. Those bots come in. Oh my god, that's scary. That's multiple boss packs here in one go. But look, we have 80 fire resist. So that was just a pile of XP for us. Let's grab the potions. Ooh, they dropped some full rejuves for us. That's always nice. Another super healing, and another super healing. That was a good pack. It's always good when you find a boss pack of something that you can very easily deal with, because it's just a shitload of free experience. A lot of these returned mages around here, which I'm okay with, because, again, they're not super dangerous, so... At least not to us, right? If you don't have a good fire resistance, those things will chew through your health pretty fast, because they do hit you a lot at once. Like, there's a whole bunch of them usually, so... Here's Thresh Socket. It looks like he's got extra fast today. Yeah. Be careful with him. He is cursed. He's always cursed. Wow, did you see that? That's some damage right there. Thresh Socket's pretty damn tanky, and we just crushed him. So that was cool. Not often that I see Thresh Socket get two-shotted by characters I'm playing. Let's go back to town and check out our jewels and whatnot. And get this curse off of us. And we saved the barbs so we can get more runes from Qualkek, but let's do this first. $19 mana. Big poison resist. That's not a bad jewel. Minimum damage. Life of magic fine. Not super worried about that. So let's take a look and see how we can roll sockets in the Curus, because I think I'd rather do that than use Larzik. So let's go open. Let's go online and let's find. I usually use D2 Rune Wizard. Not sponsored. Just I like them. If they wanted to sponsor me, I'd be down. But obviously they don't want to. I don't have enough viewers. But they're a really cool site. Very, very cool. They have a lot of... let's do Curus Exceptional Armor. Max sockets is 3, so we have the highest chance of rolling for... If we roll, we have a very high chance of rolling 3. We have like a 60% chance. Or more than that. Tal, Soul, Perfect, Topaz. So we definitely have those. So let's go ahead and just... Let's roll it. There's our P Topaz. Actually, let's go ahead and just do this. Do we have a Tal? So we have a Thol. Oh, we can get a Tal from, what's his face? Let's send that to shared. Let's send that to shared as well, because we're not going to use that many Nephrons. So then let's go to Qualkek, and he'll give us Ral or Tal, which is fine by me. And then, so then we go Tal. There we go. So there's our 3-socketed armor. That's awesome. So we're gonna swallow Shale. Soul. Duress. Okay, so more faster hit recovery than stealth, which is great. Add some cold damage, sure, we'll take that. Add some enhanced damage, that sure. Add some crushing blow, adds open wounds, and importantly, a pile of resistances, which we desperately need. So, well, let's go ahead and get rid of our garbage here. Repair our stuff. And let's pull up our character sheet and watch our numbers, how much this impacts us. Mainly, currently we have our resistances like pretty to the 9s, but we could probably take these boots off and switch back to Gore Riders with this, and also we are getting a little bit of damage. There's a little bit of cold damage and stuff on there. So stealth, you've served us well. Thank you for your service. So now let's check it out with Gore Riders. If we still have like, so our fire resist is no longer maxed out if we switch to Gore Riders, but we will then have 15, so 40 plus 30 more, so we'd have a 70% crushing blow. Open wounds is 33, Plus a 43% chance open wounds, 15% deadly strike. We'll use the resist for now, but we're going to use definitely keep a hold of this for bosses. Cool. Sweet. Okay. Okay. We got these succubuses. They are potentially very dangerous because they can curse you. And those little like fireball looking things that they shoot at you aren't fire damage. No, that would make too much sense. They're physical damage balls. And they add up pretty quick, especially when they curse you, so be careful. A legend sword. It's pretty cool. Again, leapers. I've gotten leapers a lot with this character. I do not like leapers. Alright, let's say I don't like fighting leapers. I think they're cool. But fighting them is a bit of a pain in the ass. So, I usually will kind of ignore the leapers. But we just got some major upgrades. Our safety concerns aren't really much of a thing anymore. The only thing that would really improve things even further would be something like some more physical damage reduction, like a Verdungos or a String of Ears or something. That would be awesome. There's our waypoint. I don't want your wrist spike. Okay, here looks at the frozen river. And it's right by the waypoint, so that's cool. No souls, please. Even with our high resistances, the souls can be very annoying. Because lightning just rolls all over the place. Lightning actually rolls for like 1, 2 a bajillion damage. So sometimes it hits you and it doesn't do anything. Other times it hits you and you die. So that's why souls are so scary, especially since there's usually a shitload of them. So they all hit you all at once, and each one of those is a chance of just getting like nuked. Totemic mask. That's cool. Oh, hi. Some of you guys follow us. There you go. This is another one of those things we're using the terrain to our advantage. We're around that corner. That means that half of them can't even shoot us. This would be a great spot for cleansing, which we could put into a point of it into ourselves, and we may at some point, just for, that's one of the things that's nice about this build is we do have we're a paladin, we have a few things that are like kind of 1-point wonders we can invest in if we would like. Don't want you. Here is our second piece of Saigons, so we could use 2-piece Saigons if we wanted. We did find the armor. I kind of threw it in the shared stash, but this has this 40 cold res on it, so it's kind of like alders for cold, which we currently don't need. But if the chest piece also gives a bunch of lightning resist, so it's an option. Not as good as Duress, but if we did that, if we put the 2-piece Saigons on, we would give Duress to our mercenary. Okay. Again, we want to kind of fight and kite here. We don't want to just stand there and get nuked. Ow, that really hurt. monsters like this where they just kind of hang out and shoot you. That's another reason why charge is good, because it lets us get in there. Now, a lot of these harpy things, some of them are immune to different, they're all immune to like different things in hell. Some of them are immune to physical, which can be very scary for normal melee characters. Obviously, we don't care because we do elemental damage, but just something of note, if you're playing like a barbarian or something, be really careful with those guys. There we go. Little punk shooting my homie. Well, this is a very unfortunate map. It's taking us way out in Timbuktu. Is that a real place? I've always wondered if Timbuktu... I think at one point I knew whether or not it was for sure a real place, but it sounds like it could... It definitely sounds like it could be a real place. Where, I would have no clue. I guess would be either like... It sounds like it could be like a Mesoamerican or a African place. Like Djibouti, I always... As a kid, when one of my friends discovered that was the name on the globe, saw that was one of the names of one of the countries, and we all thought it was like, you know, because it sounds like Djibouti, so we all thought it was really funny. But I actually wrote a paper about Djibouti one time when I was a kid. It was shortly after that, actually. He and I had to write a paper together. We had to pick a country to write about, and we wrote about Djibouti. But it was kind of hard to get information because I don't know if it still is, but at the time they had basically were closed bordered, so it was really hard to get like a whole lot of info on it. So our presentation kind of sucked. But, you know, especially back then, because this was before the internet. This was when I was in like grade school or middle school or something. I think it was middle school. So it was like, you know, we had to get our information mostly from just books in the library, which for a place that doesn't work with the outside world a ton at the time meant finding a book that was about it pretty hard. And since there was not like Google, it was tough. I remember absolutely nothing about it other than the name. And then it was like, at the time, borders were closed. Frozen Scene is normally scary, but we cannot be frozen in a shitload of elemental damage, so we laugh at him. Of course, Frozenstein is a play on Frankenstein, right? We'll do Conviction again. Is that at 100? No, next level will be 100. Let's go more Vitality. And in case you don't know, if you've never read the book, Frankenstein goes to like the Arctic, and that's where he like meets his, or no, the Frankenstein monster, I should say, goes to the Arctic, and I don't know, that's where he decides to either like live out the end of his days or dies, or it's a little bit ambiguous if I remember correctly. Like what actually happens is not very. It's intentionally vague, I guess I should say. I'll go ahead and throw that in there. So just for sake of curiosity, let's go ahead and show what we would look like with two-piece Saigons. So, obviously our resistances would be way worse. we would get some attack rating and 10% life stolen per hit. Obviously this isn't as good, right? Now, if you have three-piece Saigons, ideally you want like these pieces, because I think this gives attack rating. Actually, or the helmet would also give attack rating, but we'd lose cannot be frozen. The gloves would give IAS like 30%, which is a lot. But anyway, so we'll keep the pieces or we'll put the pieces in the shared, because odds are pretty slim that we're going to use it. But you know, Saigons is always fun, so it's cool that we found it. Oh yeah, I found a BK ring the other day. My first offline BK ring. I have one online that I found in like season 1, but I haven't found one offline. Okay, let's go ahead and. But yeah, so Frozen Scene is basically playing on it's Frozenstein, Frankenstein, right? So that's where that comes from. It's very tongue-in-cheek type of thing. So let's go see what Anya gives us and get our resistances from. I'm gonna respot these, but from Mala. Get that sweet 10 resist all. And let's go talk to Anya. She's probably going to give us Skyridge, but, you know, she's probably going to give us a shield, too. And she's going to give us a shield, yeah. And it's too big for us to carry, currently. Yeah, thanks, Anya. I'm going to not do Neolithak, because you don't have to, and he's pretty dangerous. You can definitely do it if you want, especially if you want the customization reward. So we did it in normal, so you can kind of see what it was like, but Neolithak's pretty dangerous. And so he's something I usually do like after I kill Baal and stuff in Hell. Like I kill him if I need keys or whatever. So let's go back to the Crystalline Passage. That was weird. So we saved Anya, so now we can go to the next area here. Let's see. So we are getting towards Hell, and so we definitely are getting close to being. We're definitely more prepared than we were. Having the Duress is huge. Let's grab a bunch of these super healing potions. Oh, I don't want a regular healing potion. That's poop. So champion leapers. Yeah, I'm feeling good about where we are as far as our progression in items and stuff for moving towards Hell. We'll grab the chipped. The Duress was like I said, the Duress was a major upgrade for us. Alright, we're just dropping gems and stuff all over the place. Again, Treachery I think would be better. But for now, the Duress is great. We'll take that. Again, with these harpies, you kind of want to don't let them clump up and start all shooting you at the same time, because then you get wrecked. So try and fight them hit and run, zigzagging, that kind of stuff. And now with between with the Duress, the Gore Riders, Bonesnap, our Venom grips, if we put all that on, we have 75% chance crushing blow. So we're just, and we also have that ring that has Sigil Lethargy, so we're gonna, Baal's gonna be a joke, which is good. Yeah, Sigil Lethargy is actually one of the best charges skills you can roll on something, especially since you can find on like rings and crap, because it's just so good against Baal. Like, it obviously has other uses for sure too, but against Baal it's like amazing. So we could go to the Frozen Tundra. I am going to put a portal down, and I'm going to try and find the waypoint, because for the sake of completionism, and also in case something happens and we die, it's less of a walk, right? Granted, we could just find the one in the Tundra, but... Ooh, another Amrune. It's a rune sword. It's a rune staff. I know there's like some crazy endgame like staff rune words that you can make. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there's one you can make that is pretty good on this character, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head. It's probably Obsession. I just don't know how much damage that thing does. But I think one of the main things you would want on the endgame for this character would be something like a Breath of the Dying. Again, Grief, I'm not exactly sure. I do not believe the added damage on Grief actually works with Vengeance, because it's not added maximum damage, because it doesn't. So it's added as like a separate. Like there's a bunch of different ways damage is added in the calculation. There's like percent enhanced damage. There's like enhanced damage, then plus to maximum minimum damage, and then there's added damage. And there's all these different things, and I believe the added damage from Grief is would take a, like, it basically hits in a different layer than the what Vengeance scales off, how Vengeance scales, so it doesn't work. I'm explaining that very poorly, but plus one to sorcerer skill levels, magic damage by 4. If you had a sorceress, that'd be great. But we're not a sorceress, so we don't care. Yeah, when we first got to Act 5 Nightmare, we were kind of getting messed up a little bit by the monsters here, but now we're just kind of laughing at them. The Duress again was just, it's a bit of a game changer for us, and a timely one, because we're getting close to hell. So, see if this chest is anything good for us. Not really. Whoop. I have seen there's some other interesting things you can do with this build with like conversion, just for like safety purposes. You can like convert monsters to, so like you run in to a big pack, and its first couple attacks, instead of using Vengeance, you use Conversion to convert a couple guys, and then you'll use then you start using Vengeance. It's a good way to take the heat off of you. We're not doing that, but we could. That's something we could look at doing in the future, because I believe we're only 1 point off, right? Yeah, we would just need to put 1 point in, and you really only need 1 point in Conversion, and then you know, if you have plus to skills or stuff like that, that's where having like a double spirit would be good. So we run in with double spirit, convert a couple guys, then switch to our hammer and punch and, you know, finish the job. Attack rating. We'll put that in the shared because I don't know if we actually want that, but we may. Enhanced damage and maximum damage. This would affect our stuff, so we'll keep it in case we find a need for it. Probably pretty far off of that now, but we'll hang on it, we'll see. Okay, then the Frozen Tundra. I almost never happen to find the waypoint in here. We'll look for it a little bit, but not like a ton. Excuse me. Skill Shrine. Again, our damage reduced amulet is doing work still. We also are hitting things really, really well. So we, you know, part of that might be the Blessed Aim, part of it might be we just have more levels now. I think going into Hell, I think we probably will switch our mercenary to a different aura. We'll probably switch him to Holy Freeze for safety purposes. But for now, Blessed Aim's been doing okay for us. Might doesn't do anything for us, really. It ups just the physical portion of Vengeance, because it's kind of like the grief thing. It just doesn't apply until after our Vengeance elemental damage is calculated. So, unfortunately, Might Aura is not good with our build, which is also why we're not using Might Aura ourselves, and we're not using Fanaticism, because it has kind of a similar thing. We also could use like an Act 5 mark if we wanted. But we haven't really dropped any gear that would make that like worth it. There's a waypoint. But you could. The Act 5 Merc is actually pretty strong, and he can fight alongside you pretty well. And he's generally pretty damn tanky. He's not really going to die. But I think the Holy Freeze is probably going to be our best bet, just for, like I said, for safety purposes. Because Hell could be pretty dicey, and being able to just freeze an entire pack of enemies and then have the opportunity to run away from them potentially if you need to, it's nice. Doesn't give us like, you know, a ton of damage or anything, but okay, the Ancient's Way. So we definitely are going to find the waypoint here, because because if we die on the Ancients walking all the way back from, holy crap, walking that far just sucks. Alright, that was a lot. Thank you, Hazard. Yeah, again, I've said it a million times, the Spear Ladies are no joke. They're very fast, and they hit like a truck. Especially in Hell. Especially if one of them happens, if like there's a boss pack of them and they're cursed or something, or Might Aura, they'll kill you real quick. So, again, Argot Summit. Okay, so we're gonna drop our portal, and we're gonna look for our waypoint here. Luckily, these Spear Ladies aren't very tanky, so we can kind of just nuke them down. But yeah, they're glass cannons. They hit like a truck. Tainteds are... That's a lot of tainteds. That's a lot of tainteds. Let's kind of get them to fight us a little bit on our terms here. Okay, bit dicey there. Okay, this area is a little bit annoying, not gonna lie. Oh, speaking of cursed, that's the one I was afraid of. Alright, let's go regroup here. Okay, so what this is let's get this curse off of us. Also, we did just open a portal, so that's really annoying. Man, I wish that all resistance rolled better. Not worth it over our attack rating ring. Yeah. And then we'll leave this here as a safety TP. Alright, let's try and get through this death trap here. Okay, let's kill the shamans. There's so many of them. Okay. Ouch. These tannins also suck because the lightning currently is our worst resistance. But this is why we want the waypoint, right? Because dying in here or on Mount or against the ancients sucks because it's not the safest walk through the park to get back to where your body or whatever. Again, you can always save an exit if you get really screwed. Try coming at him from this angle. Get these shamans dead. Alright, I'm still not finding the waypoint, but that's alright. Holy... Yep, we're gonna go around the safe way here. That was a lot. And we know that that's not where the waypoint is, so let's actually just not even deal with those ladies. They are very upset. Jeez. For our personal current setup, this might be the worst monster spawn we could possibly get down here. A shitload of tainteds that do lightning damage when lightning's our biggest weakness, and these spear ladies who just hit like a freaking freight train. Which it kind of gets them through our minus 20. Like, luckily we have this minus 21 damage amulet, or we would be dead like several times over by now. That is definitely saving our butts. There's the waypoint, thank God. And let's see, it's this one, so it's basically straight across. +1 to fire skills for sorceress. Okay, at least it should be not too bad. Let's clear this out in case we do unfortunately kick the bucket against ancients. Okay, let's fill up on potions for sure, and be prepared for this Ancients fight. Ancients fight's generally one of the toughest in the game, especially the Hell Ancients are going to be the hardest fight in the game, probably. Nightmare, it shouldn't be too bad. Let's prepare our teleport staff. Because when we initially spawn them, we're going to want to separate them if possible. So we're actually going to spawn them with the teleport staff up. Okay, he's got fanaticism, that's a little scary. Okay, there's only 2 of them. That's not too bad. Ah, shit. Oh god, he's cursed. Yeah, we're gonna reset this. I don't want to deal with that. Cursed and Mana Burn are 2 that I definitely do not want to deal with. Stone Skin we don't give a shit about. It's really the Cursed and the Mana Burn. They're really dangerous ones, basically. Fanaticism and Light would be pretty bad, too. Curse is probably the worst. Come on, Maddock. Again, we probably should have put on our Gore Riders here, but I didn't think about it. Okay, that's 1 down. So he's got Stone Skin and immune to physical, but we don't care, because you can block with the physical part. All the rest of our damage is elemental, so. One thing to note about the Ancients, that's another interesting thing about them, is they're one of the few enemies or summons in the game that can have gear. They basically spawn, when they spawn, they roll random gear. And so sometimes they will hit way harder or way less hard than other times. Okay, he's got Mana Burn, so that's slightly annoying. No, not that bad. See, as long as they're not cursed, we're good. Cursed is a big issue. So for our skill, we'll go up to a negative 100%. Then we'll buff these guys for a while. We're getting close to 900 health, so that's helpful. We got 28 teleports left. We're good. Let's do this. Alright, Baal, here we come. So, the main thing I don't want to see anywhere in here is souls and dolls. Death Lords are the next one on the list. Those three things can kiss my ass. And of course there's Death Lords. If we kite them and we fight them smart and don't let them gang up on us, we're okay, because we can kill them in, like, pretty easily. We just don't want them ganging up on us, because that with the frenzy that they have, they just attack faster and faster, and they do a shit ton of damage, so they will kill you very quickly. So when you fight them, you want to do like a stick and move strategy, where you're like hit them, run, hit them, run, hit them, run type of a thing. Harpies are also pretty bad, but not too bad. As long as they don't curse us, we don't really care. And maybe Defilers are actually like the easiest monster. They're just like really gross looking. Okay, perfect. I'll drop a safety TP. Actually, we could get lucky. We did get lucky. Perfect. And there's souls. We'll try. Yep, we're gonna reset that. I'm glad the waypoint was right there. We got really lucky. Yeah, souls are just a pain in the ass. They will nuke you very, very quickly. And we have maxed out lightning res, and they still like just chunked us right there. Or we don't have maxed out lightning res. Sorry, lightning is our weakness. We have maxed out fire and cold. It's a long loading. It's weird. But a really long loading. Oops, let's see what this charm is. Some random fire and lightning damage. Sure. We don't really need keys, so why not? It's like 30 damage. I mean, that's not terrible. It's like 3 to 30. Amrune. We have a bunch of Amrunes. Let's cube up a couple of these guys. I have been throwing chips in the shared, so there's soul rune for us. Let's grab a couple mana potions and let's go back. And hopefully we don't roll souls. Souls are the ones that I'm really scared of. Again, in addition to souls, dolls and death lords are also kind of bad, but souls are the really bad, are the worst one because you can't really run from them. Souls again. Great. Yeah, nope. I was like, you don't want to have, we're weak to, our lightning is our weakest resistance thing. And Baal's like, yeah, bet. Here's some souls and beetles, dog. Hope you like them. What an asshole. We're gonna murder Baal, though. We have so much crushing blow and open wounds when we put on our Gore Riders and our instead of our alders, that we're just gonna, and then we're gonna sigil him. It's gonna be great. In fact, we might even not need to sigil him. We might just like go in and just do the thing. What's not cute? Eventually we'll roll not souls and a bunch of bullshit. Eventually. If it rolls souls again, I might just say fuck it and just try and go. But when we first the first attempt when we got chunked like immediately down to like almost nothing, I was like, I don't know if that's the best idea. Yeah, our 24% lightning res is not cutting the mustard against this type of stuff. Alright. I thought I saw, yep, there are souls after all. Okay. Yep. It's gotta be over here, right? Holy. Alright. We're good, we're good, we're good. Safety TP. Okay, harpies we can handle. A couple of Death Lords is fine. Okay, we are past the souls. hopefully there's not more in here. There's Death Lord. Okay, there's Death Lords and Defilers and Harpies. That's fine. It's a little bit danger, but not as bad. Cool, we're alright. I am loving our damage. Okay. Okay, Ghoul Lords are a little annoying, but they're not the most dangerous thing in the world. Dropping some frames here. That's a bit annoying. Okay, our mercenary gained level. That's always great. And we gained a level. Cool. All right. Let's go there. And let's do lightning. We'll just go back and forth. Okay. Hello. We are amped, so we want to be careful here. So many enemies. Alright. Let's get our just rewards for killing these idiots. See, against the fire stuff, we don't really care. It's the damn lightning stuff that's annoying. And nope, they didn't really drop any potions for us, so they were kind of stingy there. But this is going pretty well. I do like to drop a safety TP here just in case. Because again, if you die in the throne room, just walking back is just a major pain in the ass, especially since we rolled souls. And without our gear, they'll just literally one-shot us, so. Decrepify is super annoying. Okay. So let's 3 to traps. Would be great for a traps in. We are not that. I don't just keep it in the shared because I already have something like that. But +3 traps, pretty good. Die, Colenso. Again, Decrepify is super annoying. Die. There we go. Man, Unravelers are tough. I guess being decrepified was really the big problem there. But Grand Crown, let's see if that rolled 3 sockets. Give us another opportunity for one of those cool helmets. Only 2. We are super poisoned, so I'm going to go back to town. Because I don't want to be poisoned for 100 years. Again, these guys I definitely want to lure them a little bit. Our mercenary is going to die here, like 99% chance. Because Hydras do 1 billion damage to mercenaries for some weird reason. Oh, he lived. That was like a once in a lifetime. Huh. Alright, well, that's what I get for naysaying. Good job, Hazade. Look at you. Again, let's stick and run here. Again, Hazade lived. What a boss. You're the man, Hazade. You the man. Alright. Now, the tough one. We're definitely going to lure Lister away from Baal, because if we're decrepified, these guys are going to kick our ass. But we're chunking them. Oh, Hazade died. Alright. Hazade, I will avenge you. As is my duty as the Vengeance Paladin. TM. See how I did there? Am I funny? Are you laughing? Probably not. Despite the fact that I like dad jokes, I am in fact not a parent. Alright. That actually wasn't that bad. Lister is, can be sometimes very scary. Alright, so let's go back and just resurrect his aid and grab our crushing blow gear. Oops, not Saigons. Put on our Gore Riders, put on our poison or venom grips. That's big ass repair bill. I'm not gonna grab the Sigil Lethargy ring because I think we'll be all right. Oh, I just popped my neck like really majorly. That felt good. No drops from any of the waves though. That's unfortunate. Hopefully Baal is better to us. Drop a safety TP because again, if you die in here, it's just we won't. It's not likely we'll die in here, but it is possible. All right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, each time we hit him, we're not hitting a ton because, again, Baal's very high level even in Nightmare, so like the hit calculator is a bit rough when you fight him, which is why we're missing a ton. But when we do hit him, we're almost always crushing blowing him, so that's awesome. Okay, that was not bad at all. So we got a large charm, long staff, and a Lakabar axe. What is in here? And a warhammer. I thank you for my food. Alright. And that's Baal Nightmare down. And he wasn't that tough, so I think farming him would be a good idea. Obviously there's Terror Zones as an option, and obviously there's Eldritch and Pendleskin, but because we crushed Baal, like he had didn't put up any fight at all, and we did pretty well against his waves. I mean, the mercenary didn't die against wave 3, which I thought he would. He did die at a Lister because we teleported a bit too slow. If we needed to, we could have saved him. But yeah, we're level 60, right on the dot. And so let's take a look and see the kind of the character, and we might maybe we'll run at Baal another couple times like we did in normal. When we did it in normal, we got a Bonesnap, so let's see. You never know. We could get something really good. Trying to think of things that he could drop that would be awesome for us. But, you know, let's go ahead and talk to Mala. Chance to cast amplify damage on striking. Holy shock blessed hammer, all that kind of jazz. Anything that has chance to cast amplify damage on striking is generally like worth looking at, but the base damage on that thing's just too bad. If it had a ton of ED on it, it'd be maybe worth it. Nope. And then the Lakabar axe. This is way fast attack speed, and you know, so if our mercenary didn't have an insight, which he does, we could give him this. This is obviously way not as good as insight, so we're not gonna worry about it. This is interesting. The enchant charges, we could use this if we wanted and we were worried about attack rating. I don't think we need it. And it's also very expensive. Their charges on enchant charges are, I guess it depends on the level of enchant, but I know like repairing like Demon Limb, for example, is like ungodly expensive. So then we'll switch back to our non-crushing blow gear. And let's do another Baal run. Oh, hi. What the hell was that? We don't need to get away. Did that say plus? Yeah, anyway, I think it was a +3 one, which is really great, but it only rolled one socket, unfortunately. Because them's the breaks. And we're running. Okay. High level unravelers, that's so hopefully, like I said, this is one we definitely don't want souls in, because unravelers can resurrect souls, which is terrifying. Okay, harpies, that's okay, that's not bad. And ghoul lords, they can resurrect those too, so we did level again. Again, doing Baal runs is a really good way to level. Like, Baal and all of his minions are pretty high leveled. Son of a bitch. Come back here. Alright, fuck him. That ghoul lord pissed me off. He was just like, I'm just gonna slightly walk faster than you. Well, I guess he didn't walk faster than me. It's just like, I'm gonna slightly walk out of range every time you walk closer to me. It's like, thanks, dog. I love that. I love that for you. And we'll go fire. And we're over 900 health now. I guess technically we were before our point, but die. Boom. Die, Colenso. Whack. Die, Akmel. I find this wave is more scary than most people let on. Because you don't, if you're, at least if you're a fighting character, because you get the super poison pretty much guaranteed. Because Akmel will breathe on you and you'll be poisoned for 100 years. And then his little shitheads freeze you on top of being decrepitified, so it's just like, it's pretty messed up. Alright, wave 3 want to be back. Especially we want his aid behind us, and we want to lure them to us. Yeah, come on. There you go. And they amped me. Okay, this is how we want to fight them, behind the pillar. Ow. Yeah, how do you like me now? We're amped, so let's get rid of the amp, actually. the one thing that could go very wrong in the next 2 waves is being amped. So. Again, we'll try and lure them to us and hopefully fight them near this rock, one of the pillars, where they can't just easily surround us. And if they do surround us, it's not all of them. Right. Like, this is perfect. And they didn't even really do... Okay, they hit Hazade a little bit, but... Good job, Hazade. Give him that. Alright. Now the asshole. Oh yeah. Perfect. Even Lister and his homies aren't that bad. Alright, and let's put our crushing blow gear on and then fight Baal. +1 sorcerer skills and damage reduced by 5. They're slowly improving this +1 to sorcerer skill amulet they're giving us over and over again. Pick up the town portal. Again, no real drops from the waves. That's alright. Alright, crushing blow. See, if we sigiled him, he wouldn't be teleporting around and stuff. But I was too lazy to do that. We're killing him still pretty easily, so. Oh, hi. That's a War Club unique. That's a Blood Tree Stump. Yeah. That's, pretty good. Yeah. Well, we're gonna check that out. But that's... Yeah. Okay, so we have a Gothic plate with with a bunch of resistances on it. That's not bad. It's not as good as the Dark Low for our mercenaries, so we'll get rid of it. And it's worth a bunch. But the real find is this baby. Bingo. If we were a barbarian, yeah, +5 to mace mastery. 50% chance of crushing blow, tons of damage, 25 to strength, all res 20. Yeah. We have Bonesnap, and we are not a barbarian, so we are going to use Bonesnap, because as we can see, this is 187 to 276. So this is more damage because we upped it. But if we were a barb, and especially a mace hammer whirlwinder or something, this would be nuts. So very cool find. But sadly, not the find we need. And bink, bink, bink. Let's do Let's do one more and see if we get some levels. We are coming up on like the 2-hour mark for the stream and eventually YouTube videos, so that's pretty decent. But I want to kind of like wrap up Nightmare before we go into Hell. And next stream, if we go into Hell and we get our asses kicked initially, we may go back to Nightmare and farm a little bit. That's very common with especially melee characters. And don't be ashamed of doing that. Going back to Nightmare is not the worst thing you could be doing. Oh, whoops. I did not see that guy was cursed. That's a good way to get a hardcore character killed. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Try that again. Okay, let's take our time this time. Unless they're souls. They gave me a lane, and I'm going to take it. As my football coach used to say, I haven't seen holes like that since the 90s. Ah, crap. Okay, I'm glad none of the souls are actually in the throne room, because if they were, that would be very annoying, because Wave 2 can resurrect them. They are undead. So if you ever get souls in the throne room, just be extra careful on Wave 2, because, yeah. Akmel and his homies will resurrect them, and then they'll shoot you, and if you don't remember that they were there, or didn't see that coming, you get wrecked. So. Good night, Akmel. Good night, Unraveler. A flawless ruby, we'll take that. And again, let's get this damn poison off us. That's the other benefit of having the cure runeword on your mercenary, is or having disappoint in a cleansing. Gets rid of cursed a lot faster, and poison. Or if you're getting cannot be frozen from the death's belt boot combo, then you have minus 75% poison length from the gloves. Then you don't have to worry about it. fuck. That decrepify and then getting smacked was painful. But our mercenary didn't die, so we saved him, so that's good. Oh, it's the General's Tangling Dough. And it's ethereal, that's cool. I'll identify that just for the sake of showing it off. That's another one of those weapons that makes Baal pansy. So like a normal, for example, if you're playing like a flail barb. Crap, I didn't heal him fast enough, I wasn't paying attention. The General's Tangling Dough will do the same thing as like the Sigil Death thing, where he'll literally just stand there and stare at you. If you have another source of slow, like cold. But yeah, so let's show it off. It is ethereal, so it's kind of cool. Yeah. Bunch of attack speed, some damage, some added damage, mana steal, slows target by 50%. This is really cool. Yeah. But anyway, it's one of those cool to check it off the list, but we're not going to use it. Also, the fact that it's ethereal kind of sucks because there's not really a mercenary that can use it. But the fact that it's ethereal means super rare, so that was cool. Okay, we'll fire this time. Okay, we're getting close to that 950 now. Okay, looks like he's extra fast. Which is okay. Extra fast is not as bad as some things. Hazade lived! Good job, Hazade. And again, no drops from the team, or from the duders on the way through. Oh yeah, let's grab our Crushing Blow gear. Make our lives easier. And I'll grab the Sigil ring this time just so I can show it. And how that works. Where is it? Oh, it's in the shared. Never mind. We're not gonna use it then. I forgot. But yeah, if we had settled, I think I found it on the last character. Yeah. Again, not that we've needed it, but safety TP. Safety first. Again, I like to stand on the side of him, not at the same side as Hazade. That way he's only punching one of us at a time. Because I'm okay if he's punching me, and I'm okay if he's punching Hazade. I'm not okay if he's punching us both. Nothing of value, really. I mean, this long staff, maybe, but... So we'll grab the long staff. So it could be... Yeah, the gloves are even F. Anyway, I think this is probably where we will end this stream. We'll kind of go over a quick recap, and then But I would say if you're following along at home, definitely farm this and the terror zones until you're comfortable. You can farm, like I said, you can farm realistically, and especially in the terror zones. I think you can farm up to like levels like 70, 75, something like that. We're not really a cow character, so I wouldn't recommend that. That's a good way to die. But Baal is as we can see, Baal's not that tough for us. So we can, but so if you're following along at home, I would recommend farming until you're comfortable. And then before going into hell, I'm going to go into hell next stream. And so we're level 62. I may farm to like 65 or something offline, but I haven't decided. Probably not. We're probably just going to go into hell. And then check and see where we're at. And if we're getting our ass kicked, then we'll come back. Not worth anything. Not worth anything. Okay, so let's go over a quick recap here. We have the things that are major updates for this stream is Duress, is Chef's Kiss. 500 basically 500 defense, not bad. Obviously, if it wasn't a great halberd, the defense would be higher, but whatever. Yeah, just really awesome. It's basically single-handedly saving our resistances, because look at this without it. So, the cold being so much means we can actually swap around some cold if we have anything, because this is giving us cold, this is giving us a ton of cold too, so that's kind of redundant, unfortunately, which is why ideally I would like treachery and then give the duress to our mercenary. But yeah, so this is the main upgrade for this stream, is this guy right here. And the mercenary is still rocking the same setup. Yeah, the duress is it's a game changer for us. So, as always, thank you guys so much for watching, whether it be watching on the stream live or watching the YouTube later. Either way, I really appreciate it. I got into the streaming for fun recently and didn't think anybody would watch my stuff, and the fact that there's at least a handful of you guys that really enjoy it or seem to enjoy it, that's awesome, and it makes me feel good, and it's fun to do, and I'm going to keep doing it as long as I can. Once I start working, it'll probably be maybe a little bit less often, maybe a couple times a week, but we'll see. Or they might just be shorter streams too. It depends. So it also depends on if I'm doing if I get a consulting gig, it'll be less hours, so it's possible that I do that and then still stream. So we'll see. But I definitely want to continue streaming. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm enjoying chatting with you guys on the Discord and in chat. So thank you so much. This will be up on YouTube later this evening, and I'll see you guys soon. I may take tomorrow off, as I sometimes take Saturday off, just kind of hanging out with friends. But we'll see. We'll see. But either way, I'm going to do the stream either tomorrow or Sunday. That's my plan. And if not, then I'll definitely see you Monday. But thank you. See you soon.